Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Maryam Bey, and as I always say, I need to change the name of television to I'm so excited, because I always bring on like the greatest guests, and I get so excited. So today, I'm bringing on a beautiful young lady that I met a couple of months ago, right? And since we met, it's been like so wonderful. I really enjoy being in your presence, and you're such a, I would say, a young woman who is on the verge of doing great things because you are already doing great things. Yes, thank God for that, right? And so I'm going to let Towanda introduce herself and tell her, she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, and then I'm going to get into asking you questions and everything. You okay with that?
I mean, I guess, listen, it's your show, so I'm here. I'm doing what you say do.
You're right, okay. Okay, first of all, what's your sign?
Scorpio.
Oh, no wonder.
What?
Go ahead, no wonder.
Why? Is that why me and you always back and forth?
I'm an Aries.
Okay, oh my goodness. Okay, so my name is Towanda McEachern. I am, and it's so funny when you asked me, you was like, so what do we call you? Like, what's your title? What's this? And it's been so interesting because over the years, I've been struggling with what that whole thing is, because people need to call somebody something, like whether you are a transformation coach or you're a life coach or this.
Right.
And I always have gone back and forth between transformation coach, life coach, and the other day, I was thinking about emotional wellness.
Yes.
And I think I had said that to you.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? Since we're making up all these names anyway, I'm going to be an emotional wellness coach. Because I feel like that's the essence of what it is that I do. Emotional wellness. I help women to heal from their past, move into their present, and prepare for their future. You know, because God has a plan for us.
Yes.
And, you know, I was my first student. I was my first client. You know, so the work that I did on my life, all I do is just hold up a mirror to other women and allow them to be able to see the pure essence of who they are, aside from all the stuff that they've gone through.
Right. Yeah. And you can't help us if you haven't gone through anything.
Right. And it took me a minute to be able to understand that, because I was like, really, God? Like, we always want to know why we had to go through all that. And it was really painful experiences, you know, from childhood to adult life. But at the point I am now, and I've understood this it's been some years now that I've been doing this work, that everything that I've gone through, it was not for me. It was for me to be able to help other people on the journey, you know, because everybody is not going to be able to just come through it. And just feel like, oh, okay, yeah, that's that. No, some people need help to come through it. So I consider myself to be a vessel.
Okay, that's a good word. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's the word I use, vessel.
But you see, what you're doing, because we all go through stuff, and I like to say while we're going through it, we're growing through it. Right. And when you just mentioned, as far as when we're going through stuff, why we're going through it. Now, I'm 71 years old, so I should know by now, right? But I still don't know. But last week, I was saying something happened, because I was looking around at all of the blessings that the Creator has given me. And everything, as you just mentioned, from your childhood to now. And when we look at whatever we went through as those blessings, because the Creator has us here today with everything that we've experienced. And as you just said earlier, what we're going through is really not for us. Right. It is for others to see that you went through it and you're thriving. I could do the same thing.
Exactly.
You know, and so that's the blessing. So I had to say it, and I said, thank you, Father, for that, because sometimes we forget. Yeah,
we do, because we every day we call it, we lifing, okay? Every day we out here living, trying to figure this thing out. Right. And the interesting part about it is we don't learn as we're going through it. We literally learn backwards, meaning that, how they say hindsight is 20/20, right? Yes. We don't know while we're going through with that, it's really gonna be okay. You know, once we get through it, we have so many different things that will strengthen us as a result of it.
So
like I think about the woman that I am today. Had I not gone through those things, I wouldn't even be able to be her.
Absolutely.
You know, so
That's
those things literally shaped me. You know, character is developed in the dark.
That's what Martin Luther King says to Dr. Martin Luther King. Yes.
You have to go through some things.
character.
You're not born with it.
Yes.
It's developed.
Right.
You know, so.
You know who you reminded me of also? Oprah. Oprah Winfrey says that she would tell her younger version that everything is going to be okay.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And that breath right there, if we can just take a moment to just kind of breathe through it and know honestly
Yes.
that it really is going to be okay. It really is.
I really like this conversation.
Thank you.
Wow. You know, because you're young enough to be my daughter, and age doesn't really matter, because at every age you're learning something and you're getting something from everyone. It doesn't matter what color they are, how old they are. You know, we get something from each other. And I just got your spirit, you know, when you just said what you said.
Wow.
And there are so many women that are going through so much right now. And when I sit and I think about, like what you just said just now, some people need help to get through it because they're scared. And then the other thing is it's difficult for some people to get to it because they don't want to feel that pain that they went through when they was going through what they were going through. Because once you start bringing up certain things, it brings up certain things in you, you know? But what someone, I don't remember the person who said this, but they said that when you start bringing up certain emotions, what that is doing is getting you to recognize the greatness that's in you, like you're feeling it, you know? And I'm saying that too because when I worked with the women inside the prisons, they were so broken because of everything that they had gone through. And I realized when I would sit and counsel them, they were stuck.
Yeah.
So what do you say about women who are stuck in their brokenness?
You know, as you were talking, when you talked about not wanting to feel, you know, that thing all over again, there's this part of what I do with women. I call it SIRF. SIRF. So it's SIRF. First of all, I create acronyms for everything. Okay, so I love acronyms because one, it helps me remember. Two, it helps other people remember the process. So it's SIRF. So the first S is self-examination.
Okay, great.
Really being able to look at yourself to exactly see who you are, what you are, and what's really going on at the state and where you are. That's the self-examination, because everybody has to have a moment of awareness where we begin to say, okay, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but I know that something needs to change. I know that something is happening, you know, so you have to be able to examine yourself first. And then the I is identify. Now let's identify what really, really has happened to you so that you can be able to, because first of all, you can't conquer what you don't identify. We have to be able to know the demon that is within us, what I call the devil that you're dealing with. You have to be able to know. You're going to go to war, what weapons you need. If if we're having a fight and you got a gun and I got a knife, it's not a match, right? So you have to be able to understand and identify what exactly it is that you're dealing with. And then the R, we have to get to the point where now we need to release because it's not serving us. So if it's not serving you, you have to be able to let it go. But before you can even get to that particular point, the self-examination and identifying it helps you to know what it is that you're dealing with. So which means that, yes, you're going to have to conjure up all of those feelings. You're going to have to relive it because now you got to sift through that to be able to say what parts of this serve me and what parts don't serve me. You know, so that's the release part. And then the F is forgiveness.
That's
and forgiveness. The forgiveness comes in two parts, because if someone wronged you, you need to be able to forgive them. But you can't even get to the forgiveness part until you go through all the other parts. And so if you've not only forgiven them, but then you need to also forgive yourself. Because sometimes what happens is we hold on to stuff longer than we need to. We get angry at ourselves because we felt like we should have known better, we should have done something different. We have all of these feelings and emotions that we still hold on, which is what you talked about, being stuck. So people are stuck in their feelings, they're stuck in all their emotions, they're stuck in their past, they're stuck in all their junk, they're stuck in their madness. And then guess what? Everybody around them is stuck also. So we all look alike and we think that's normal.
Right.
Baby, that is not normal.
Right.
That's not normal.
Right.
Healing is what needs to take place.
So that's true, that's right. But you can't heal what you're saying if you don't reveal it.
Exactly, you
can't
got to
heal
identify it.
You have to identify it. And you reminded me of something that Bishop T.D. Jakes said. I was listening to him the other day, and he said, he was talking about forgiveness, and he said, how do you feel when the ones who wronged you, God blesses them? Like, I said, whoa, that is so true. Because you could look at people and say, well, he said, well, how come you're getting that after what you did? Right? But God knows who we are. We're his children. So we have to understand, as you just said, the forgiveness really is to forgive them, but to also to forgive yourself. And like I said, that is very difficult to do.
It is, but
it is definitely a process.
it's a whole process. But you know what? Vengeance is not ours.
Right,
so
that's true.
We don't get to say who God blesses and
That's
who
right.
he doesn't. You know,
That's what he said too.
Except
That's
for
right.
God's grace.
Yes.
There go I.
Yes.
You know, so
yes.
we none of us get out of here unscathed.
Yes.
Unharmed. You know, whether we've harmed someone or someone harmed us, whether we said something we shouldn't have said, done something that we should have done, none of us are perfect.
That's right.
So there are offenses lying all around on
Right.
both sides.
Right.
So we don't get to say, okay, well, you wronged me, so you don't deserve to be blessed.
Yes.
You know, and we think that. But when we start the process of healing and self-awareness and knowing that it rains on the just and the unjust, you know, so when it rains, it don't just rain on my street, it rain on your street too.
That's right.
You know, so
you're right.
I don't even look at it like that anymore. You know, I've grown enough in my life to be able to understand that if I don't heal from whatever it is that has been going on in my life, then I won't grow. And if I don't grow, then I can't be useful to be able to do the things that I've been called to do. So healing is paramount.
Right. And see, and what you're saying to me is like you have to be conscious that you want to heal yourself. You know, that you don't want to stay stuck.
That's right.
You know, there. Because when you see a person who is stuck, they are really in so much pain. They're so unhappy. Yeah. And then when you're a counselor, so when you start counseling them and you begin to see them coming up out of it, you see the difference. Like with me, how I tell the difference in people who are really beginning to heal, their color changes. Not their skin, but the aura around them.
Their countenance.
You could see everything is like brightening up.
Yeah.
When the healing is taking place.
Yeah, you can tell when someone has done their work and someone that's on the journey of doing their work. There really is a difference because your lifestyle changes.
Yes.
You know, it's the changing of your people, your places, and your things. So people, you know, that you used to be around, you may not be around them anymore. The things you used to do, you may not do anymore. You know, if you want something different, you have to do something different. You know, they say that's the definition of insanity. So we can't continue to keep doing the same things, but saying that I want something different. Well, then if you want something different, you really are going to have to do something different. Is it easy? It's not easy. Changing your life is not easy. You know, I remember when I was, going on the journey to be able to transform my life. I looked at my children. I have 2 daughters, right? So my oldest daughter is 30 and my youngest is 17. And this was years ago, and my kids are 13 years apart, right? So I remember looking at them and I'm saying to myself, and I knew that my life was a mess. I was so broken, just from all the things that I had gone through in my life, you know. And I said, if I'm broken, then broken parents raise broken children. And I didn't want to do that to my kids. You know, I knew that my mom had did the best that she knew how to do with me and her, you know, and my siblings. And I said, okay, but I want to do something different. I want to be able to take my family further. I want us to be able to not feel like this is just it, that there is so much more to life. But in order for me to do that, I got to stop some of the ways that I'm thinking. I got to stop some of the things that I'm doing. I got to stop some of the places that I'm going. I have to be able to stop being so angry and stop being so mad about everything. And I realized that me being mad and me being angry was pain.
Yes.
And that was where it was rooted
That's where
in.
it was rooted.
It was
That's
rooted
right.
in the pain.
That's right.
And so I began to read a lot. I began to pray a lot.
Yeah.
I started going to conferences and workshops. I would listen to, like you said, T.D. Jakes.
Yes.
I would have a whole Holy Ghost party in the living room by myself. Okay.
Yes, yes.
I would listen to Les Brown.
Yes.
You know, Jim Rohn.
Yes.
You know, there's a woman that I actually ended up meeting her and going to some of her conferences. Her name is Dr. Stacia Pierce.
Okay.
She used to come on, and this was years ago. Probably like in the early 2000s. She used to come on the Word Network in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday morning. I would set my alarm to purposely get up at 5 o'clock in the morning just so that I could watch her. And she was the first woman that I saw do ministry in pink, in colors. And it was just so bright and it was just so beautiful, but she was speaking to a woman's heart.
Yes.
And I said, I want to do that. And I was like, I want that. Because I was always wearing dark colors. I would wear black and I would wear gray and brown. And what I didn't realize, it was me hiding.
Because you know, people wear dark colors when they want to look smaller. They're thinking I'm looking smaller because of the colors. But it really is how you're feeling. Because I remember just what you were saying. I remember years ago, I went to my closet and everything in my closet was black. Everything was in my closet was black, right? And I'm saying, wait a minute, I got to put some color and stuff in there. You know, because really black is one of my favorite colors, but everything was black. And then I started thinking about what I'm thinking, and you reminded me of something that Joel Osteen said. He says that we can think ourselves into happiness or greatness or poverty, you know, or sadness. So everything starts with the mind. And Jim Rohn also says that as well. You know, so it's the thinking.
Yeah.
And the more we think about it, the more we bring about it.
And that's where the transformations start. So even at the base level of the work that I do, it's always started with transformed thinking equals transformed living.
Yes, and this is what you said too. You said transformation happened in your life, right? And you talked yourself into it. How did you talk yourself into it?
I probably shouldn't say that I talked myself into it, more so that me and God had conversations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Through prayer.
Okay.
We had a lot of conversations, and people have a different level of praying and different way of praying. And you know, the beautiful part about it is that God meets us where we are, right? And so he talks to me through my voice. So it's so interesting because if you were to listen to a conversation with me and God, you would think that it was 2 people in the room. I would speak and I would cry and I would pour my heart out to him, right? And then he would in turn talk back to me through my voice. And it's so interesting because I paid attention to it one day, and I know the difference because there's a different tone when it's him speaking versus me speaking. And there's this dialect that actually happens. And I know if people say, okay, you should be talking to yourself. And I'm like, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to God. And I know exactly, what's going on. And I know the moment. And it's such a beautiful moment, because
really is.
he literally meets me where I am, and there is such healing in those conversations. You know how they say, he catches all of our tears. There's not one tear that's wasted. And I remember going through the process, and I used to be downstairs in my basement, and I had a couch, so I had a whole little setup in my basement. And I would put my head on the arm of the chair and pretend that it was me laying on his shoulders. And I would just talk, and I would just pour my heart out to him day after day. And I would read, and I could just get emotional just thinking about it.
That's right. No, because what you're saying is the exact thing that I do every day. And
you got you tissue. You didn't give me no tissue. Look, no.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I got my tissue. But just as I have these conversations every day. And it is like two people in there, but it's not. It's you and the Creator, God, that you're talking to. And I would say certain things to God, like, look, you got a real sense of humor, because certain things will happen. I'm saying, what are you trying to tell me now, Father? I need to know. Yeah. Right? And so, what I remember? I would listen to my my relatives when they were older, coming up. And I would hear my grandmother in the kitchen talking, like she was talking to somebody. She really was, and she was loud and everything. Yeah. And I'm saying, who is she talking to? Yeah. I didn't think that she was crazy. I just wanted to know who was this other person that she was talking to. She never told me, who the person was. So now I understand why she was having that conversation. Yeah. Because like with me, if I have a question, I'm asking God first. Yeah. Okay. And then once I ask him, he's going to show me who else can answer it for me. But he's the first one. Definitely. That I ask. Definitely. Yeah.
My family knows. It's so interesting, because now I don't go in the basement anymore. I have my office upstairs since my oldest daughter moved out. So I just moved everything upstairs to her old bedroom. And so they know when the door closes, they already know. Right. Don't even come in, because that's my time. Have your time. Yeah, they already know. And even if they make a mistake and open the door, they're like, oh, my bad. They know. Right. Yeah.
And you know what? And that is so healing for you, for us. And you said here that you were called to help women heal and deal with trauma and put their focus on what does not serve them. Because that goes back to when we're focusing on things, it's keeping us stuck.
Focus on the wrong things.
Yes.
Focusing on the wrong things. Trauma is real in our everyday life, what people go through and deal with, growing up, just going through sexual abuse and being violated, dropping out of high school when I was in the 12th grade because I was homeless and I didn't have anywhere to live. And my mother was one of those type of mothers. It's like, if you're not listening and you're not obeying these rules up in here, you cannot stay here. So, and I was one of those kids was like, I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. And she was like, okay, you can do what you want to do. You're just not going to do it here, And so I found myself from house to house, place to place, not really having anywhere stable to live. By the time I got in high school, I didn't have anywhere to live. And I ended up dropping out of high school. I eventually went back, to school, finished or whatever, but it was a process, and so I had all of those things. They left me so broken. I was so unaware of who I was. I didn't think that my life mattered. I used to always think my life was an accident, because my mom, she had me when she was 14 years old. So I was always thinking that I was an accident, because no 14-year-old child is trying to have a child, But I had to grow. And I had to learn, and I had to heal, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I took lessons from those, but I didn't take lessons from them until I got older enough to be able to understand that there were lessons that I could extract from that. But then it was also some junk that was partially my fault, some stuff that I had some situations that I put myself into, you know, that I had to acknowledge.
Right.
So, you know, everything is everything.
Okay, so now I just got the sign that I have to wrap it up.
Okay.
I just want to say to you that listening to your brief story about how you got yourself involved through your own trials, tribulations, and trauma, and what you're doing for women, because you own the studio that I am broadcasting from.
Yes.
You did this.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to thank you because you are an inspiration to me. And I'm sure that when women hear your story and hear our conversation, they're going to feel the same way. And my book is entitled Broken Spirit, Let It Go So You Can Grow. And I'm going to give you a copy of this book as well, because we're all broken at some point in our lives. But just because we're broken, we don't have to stay broken. That's why we have to let it go so we can grow.
That's right.
My name is Maryam Bey, and thank you so much for joining me today with my fantastic guest,
Towanda McEachern.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.